Hey everybody, Kayla here with another battle report. So this time I had a Beast Herds opponent, which was pretty cool. I drove all the way up to one of the cities near Canada up here and hooked up with a person on the forums and got a game in, so that was pretty cool. So it's another OFCC prep, my Demons versus Beast Herds. Go over my list here. I've got Papa Pestilence with a Mortal Blade. Flail's free, so I just give it to him just in case I want to use it. With Contamination, so he's poisoning on 5s. Talisman of Reality, so he's got a 4 regen, 4 learned spells of Divination. And then I have my Herald of Pestilence on a Palanquin with Bloated Putrefaction, so pretty much gives whatever unit he's in, including himself, +1 to their regen save. And I gave him a Halberd. For my core, I've got 30 Tallymen with full command, the War Standard, and Contamination. For Demons of Pestilence, I've got the Pestilent Beasts. I've got 5 of them with Contamination, so they also poison on 5s. I've got 4 Blightflies with full command, Contamination, so they also poison on 5s, and the Rending Banner. And rounding out my list, I've got a Demon Engine with Pestilence as well, and the Hellish Reaper, which is just a volley gun. So I just dropped everything. It was like wherever you put stuff isn't gonna matter, and I want to go first. So that happened. On my left, I've got my 5 Pestilent Beasts. In the center there, I've got my 30 Tallymen. And then I've got Papa Pestilence next to him, or them, and then I've got 4 Blightflies, and then my Demon Engine as well. I figured something was going to come around the side there, and that may or may not work. You'll see. From his right flank, he's got a Giant, 8 Feral Hounds, he's got 8 Minotaurs with a standard BSB, and then he's got a bunch of totems. He's got 2 Gortax. He's got a Beast Lord on a Chariot with the Impaler, which is pretty much like a Bolt Thrower, and counts as a Lance in the charge. And he also has he's got like a 1-up, 4-up. Behind him, he's got his Master Wizard with 4 spells of Shamanism, and he's on a Chariot, and then 8 more Feral Hounds. Excuse me. He also has 3 units of 10. I think they're Raiders, which are Scouting, and then he's also got like a unit of it's like 25 or 30 ambushing Raider things. So just a different look of deployment, kind of shows you where he put his scouts in the trees there on my far left flank, and then up by the house. So over here he's doing vanguards, moving dogs and whatnot. So my turn 1. I pretty much just move up out of charge range of a few things. Realistically, I put my Demon Engine way too far to the right, so now he's got to try to play catch up for 2 turns. And then that piece in the middle there is impassable. And my Tallymen are super wide, so that probably wasn't the best rank system to go with. I probably should have made him 6 wide or something, would have been easier. But everything pretty much moves up. He's got the Impaler, but other than that, not really any shooting. So I'm going to try to magic and shoot stuff. So, which I end up doing, I get a pretty decent magic phase. My Demon Engine's out of range to shoot, so nothing happens shooting, but in magic, I end up killing the 8 dogs to a man. And they're insignificant, is what he said, but only insignificant things care about insignificant things, so yeah. They were like, we're getting the hell out of here, because I'm scared dogs died. So his turn 1, he just kind of moves up his guys right here to chaff me, which is, that's alright, it's okay. And then everything else just kind of pushes forward. He's kind of pushing hard on my right flank, which is smart. Minotaurs can pretty much lock down an entire flank by themselves. Between the Giant's Vanguard and this turn's movement, he's pretty much all the way on my far left already. A little bit better view of all of his movement on this side. I pretty much stop all of his magic. He gets a few totems off, which I'm not too worried about. Like he gets +1 strength and then also distracting. So he's -1 to hit, which I was like, okay, well, by the time we get into combat, it's not going to matter. But he did get off Totemic Summon, and so he got a little dude on the back here. Better picture? Yeah. And my turn too. So I take the bait, and this is kind of when I realized, like, oh shit, my tallymen are super just stuck there right now. That sucks. But my beasts charge into his raider dudes. Other than that, my Blightflies charge his scouting guys over there. I roll boxcars, so my full is like 18. And what I was hoping, because he elected to flee, what I was hoping is he would roll super low, like a 1 or 3 or 4, and I would have caught him, and then I would have ended up super far back, like that far back on the top right there. Pretty much in those trees out of everything's charge line, which would have been super cool, but didn't work out that way. So other than that, that's all the movement. Papa Pestilence is kind of hiding behind stuff so it doesn't get shot. Demon Engine's still trying to play catch up, get close enough to shoot something. With some magic, I end up doing 2 wounds to a Minotaur, so that's kind of cool. And then so I murder those guys, and if you can tell, our units are not touching. Well, so my overrun, because center to center, pointed me straight toward the Minotaurs, which I was like, whatever. I needed 8 on Swift Stride. Yeah, that'll totally work. Totally rolled a 7. So I was an inch off. I was like, shit, now I gotta deal with impact hits. Fudge. So his turn 2, he charges in his Lord and the Gortak into my Blightflies, so that's gonna hurt. He also charges the Minotaurs and the Giant into my Beasts of Pestilence, so that kind of sucks. And then he decides to bring on his, 24-man unit of Raider dudes, so that's cool. And he also charged his Totemic Summon into the back of my Tallyman, which is kind of okay. I mean, he gets a charge in a flank or a rear, so he starts with 3. I've got 2 ranks, 3 banners. So as long as he doesn't do 2 wounds, we will not tie. And as long as I do a wound or 2, then I'll win. So I'm kind of okay with that. He's only leadership like 7. So just a better one. Those dice right there are kind of simulating that, to remember that he got totems off. I think it was the distracting and then +1 strength, I believe. It's a better picture of that over there. And then that arc, I'm checking to see if I can charge that new ambush unit here. So after combat, it pretty much looks like that. I did 4 wounds, and I believe I might have done 2 wounds to the Giant this turn. If not, that's next turn. But so he's got a charge, a banner, a BSB, and a rank. And they don't get Pestilent Beast. You can't get pluses for flanks and rears with Pestilent Beast, so that's cool. So he's got a charge, a rank, and 2 banners, and I believe he's got, so I had 2 wounds, so 4 or 5 wounds, I think. 7. I think it was by 7. And then I did 4 wounds, so I lose by like 3. 3 or 4. And I ended up rolling a 5, so I don't take any damage, which is pretty sweet. So pretty much like, I don't know, 30 attacks and then a Giant. I survived and took 4 wounds. It was awesome. I like it. Just a little bit better picture of that. And then this happened. So uh, he comes in and he does like, I think 9 wounds, kills 3 people flat out. I don't do any wounds back. Um, I am on like snakes, and I roll snakes, luckily, which was pretty cool. But yeah, so that was rough. But on the flip side of that, at least he didn't completely kill me and then overrun into my demon engine, which would have sucked. So my turn 3. Um, so if you look in the bottom right hand corner ish there of the table, the totemic summon ran, and he ended up losing combat by like 1 or 2, rolled higher than a 5 or a 6, and ran 3d6 random movement, almost made it off the board, but not quite. Excuse me. So other than that, I mean, that's kind of how the board looks right now. Now with this, I was like, okay, so I need an 8 to get into the side of the giant, which would be super sweet because that would give me a charge, a flank, 3 banners, and 2 ranks. So I would be starting with 7 against a giant. So with that, I could probably kill the giant, which would give me 6 wounds. On top of that, he's probably not going to do too much to my beast like he did last turn. So I should win that combat, which would be super dope. But I failed the charge, rolled 7, so that happened. I decided to take Papa Pestilence into the side of the Beast Lord. It's got a Mortal Blade, Lethal Strike, which I completely ended up forgetting about. So I figure I might be able to kill him. And these guys were right in my charge arc, so I ended up charging them. I needed, I think, like a 5 or a 6, and I made it, so that was cool. So not much goes on in magic or shooting because my shooting's in combat, and magic I get, I believe, +2 weapon skill and +2 initiative off on Papa Pestilence, so that was helpful. Other than that, I can't do damage spells because I'm in combat. So over here, I take a wound for my trouble, but I beat them and they're only leadership 7, so they ran and fled off the table, so that was nice. That was kind of the whole plan. And after combat, so I've got 1 guy left with 2 wounds left. I didn't do any wounds back because he killed me before I could do any wounds. But I do believe I did 2 wounds onto the giant this turn. But I still lost quite a bit, but I did make my check, so that was nice. So turn 3, Beast Herds. Charges the Gortak into the side of my Plague Bearers. That's cool. Over here, so in combat, I had ended up winning this combat by 1 because I had a charge, a flank, and then I think I did 2 wounds to the general, and then 1 or 2 wounds to the Gortak, and he did 3 to me, so he ended up losing by like 1. Gortak's like stubborn 9, but there's no BSB, and he decides to flee through the building and take a wound from Dangerous Train, so that was cool. So now we're just in a challenge together, and there's the Gortak on the other side of the building. Not gonna lie, I was totally hoping he was gonna fail another leadership check and run off the table. Would have been cool. So over here at the end of combat, he kills the last beast, which is to be expected, and hangs out there. The Gortak kills, I believe, 8 of my guys, and I don't kill him back. I do a few wounds. Actually, I think I did kill him this turn. We'll see in the next slides come, but I'm pretty sure I killed him. I've done 3 wounds total to this guy so far. He hasn't done anything to me. And no, okay, so he's still alive. I moved my demon engine up here. This is probably my turn 4. Move my demon engine up here to kind of shoot some stuff. Probably should shoot the giant, but I think I shot the minotaurs instead. And I decided irresistible force, like the +2 weapon skill, +2 initiative. I ended up taking a wound for my trouble and losing the spell. This is kind of an upside down picture. So when I killed the Gortak, I reformed on the bottom there my Tallyman, just so I could have more ranks. He's probably going to murderate that unit because he's like strength 6 this turn with the totems. He's got impact hits. He's got stomps. Yeah, it's going to be terrible bad. Still fighting the general up there. Demon Engine's still hanging out, and the wizard's just a little bit closer than he was. And the dogs down there on the bottom left are just kicking it, hanging out. Really, really no use for him right now. So, as I predicted, they pretty much killed the Tallyman to a man. I rolled pretty high on demonic instability, and so I popped the entire unit. I think I had 5 guys left, and then my BSB. So I ended up rolling pretty high, which sucked. So, but I did end up killing 2 full guys, so that was cool. That was good. This would be the end of his turn. Must have been the end of my turn. So, challenge is still going on. This would be his turn. So he charges. Other than the challenge, really nothing happens because I have 2 things on the table. So I shoot with my Demon Engine. I don't charge the Minotaurs because that's probably just a bad idea. So I just shoot him. Nothing happens. Challenge is still going on. I think he's still got 2 wounds left or 1 wound left. Charges in the flank of my Demon Engine with 4 Minotaurs, a BSB, and a Cortex. So that's cool. And after combat, it looks like that. So I finally kill his Lord. And the only wounds I've taken are from miscast. I've miscast twice so far. So Demon Engine's dead. Something fierce. So I decide to face the caster because he's already got 2 wounds on him. He's only got 2 wounds left. Okay, that's backwards. Anyway, so end of game pretty much. I cast some divination spells, one of those 2d6 hits with armor penetration 2. I end up dealing the last 2 wounds to his caster, so I kill him. That was my turn 6. And then other than that, and he said, you know, if it was a tournament, he probably would have conserved points, but he decided to try to have a little fun with it. So he charged the rear of my Papa Pestilence with the Gortak. I attack first or at the same time. He doesn't do any wounds to me. He might have done a wound, actually. And then I turn around and actually did 10 wounds to him. So that was cool. So he got died. And it ends up being, he's got about 1,700 points left on the table, and I've got about 1,250. So I think that's like a 12-8, something like that. But it was a lot of fun. It was a good game. It was my first game against Beast Herds. They're a pretty cool army. Honestly, I bottlenecked myself. Looking back, was definitely not a good thing. If I was, 6 wide like I usually run on, I probably would have had a little bit more mobility. With the Pestilent Beast, I probably wouldn't have done anything different, just because if I would have made the overrun, I would have had to deal with impact hits, and I could have charged in next turn with something else. So I was smart and supported him, but I didn't. So that was my mistake. It's all learning though. It's only my 3rd game. Other than my, I think I'm gonna go Pestilent Beast with MVP. Not because they killed a bunch of stuff, just because they literally held up a Minotaur and a Giant for like 3 full turns. And that was pretty cool. Who got me the most points would be Papa Pestilence. He got me the General, which I think was like 500 or 600. The Caster, which was like another 500, and then a Gortak, which was like another 300 or 400. So altogether, he made up his points, and it was a fun game. Minotaurs are no joke. They are pretty rough. So combo charge them in the future. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching my my battle report here. Like, subscribe, and comment. And email me if you want some trays. Thanks, guys. Bye.